Welcome to DynaVap Live and happy Battery Independence Day. Today is July 2nd and it is 4:19 p.m. I'm Retail Josh.
I'm George.
I'm Pranav.
And we have some exciting things to discuss, such as the details of the Battery Independence Day sale. But first, let's do some shout outs from the chat.
We have Vaping Crow from Tennessee, Lamanan from Brazil, Philippe from Marseille, Devin from Massachusetts, the Fing Diabetic from Arkansas, John Cambridge from Omaha. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in.
And if this is your first time watching and you're new to the product, share the hashtag #FirstClick with your question. We'd love to get those answered. And so I think now is a good time to remind you to subscribe if you haven't already, and to ring the bell to be notified so you never miss any of our new releases, such as Exploring the Dynaverse with George, The Snap, or DynaVap Live. And Pranav, what's been going on the Instagram channel lately?
We've been having exciting giveaways as usual, but pretty soon we'll have some cooler stuff to give away, something one of a kind. And if you haven't followed us on Instagram yet, please do and participate in those giveaways.
It's going to be exciting-er, isn't it?
Yes, exciting-er.
And Pranav, we're giving something special away today, aren't we?
Yes, we are giving away a Freedom Phantom. So please throw in your questions in the chat and we'll pick one lucky winner and send him this beautiful Freedom Phantom.
And I think now is a great time to thank the community. Don't you, George?
I think it's a great time to thank the community. You want to thank the Dynaverse, the people out there on the FC forum.
r/DynaVap.
Yeah, Vaporance. You know, all these other communities out there. You got Vapor Asylum.
Yeah. A lot of community support out there that makes it possible for us to be able to sit here, get product to you, as well as educate and entertain everyone out there.
And you know, in some of the other ones that maybe we don't even quite know about yet, I just see a few hashtags popping up occasionally on Instagram, like Vaporware and Dynaware, and some of these other cool things that are starting to form around what it is that we're doing. So let's keep it going. Let's keep the engagement up, and we love hearing from you. So when you've got ideas and thoughts for how we can improve, we really want to know about what your thoughts are.
Yeah. Without that, we're going to stay in the same path that we are. Whereas if you let us know you want us to change something, that allows us to pivot and redirect and
let
improve.
us know, help us grow, right?
That's a great way of putting it. And I think now is a great time, since we're speaking of community, to talk about the community tab on the YouTube channel and on Twitter. Every time we do a new stream, we ask a question. This week's question was, what does independence mean to you? The options were freedom to choose, freedom to travel, freedom to be yourself, battery independence, and other. With freedom to choose and battery independence tied with freedom to be yourself on Twitter. So they're kind of a split vote there. But George, what is your choice? What does independence mean to you?
Independence to me is all about freedom to live and to do the things that are important to me, with a very important caveat. I think it's really important that when we think about exercising our freedom to do something that's interesting or exciting for us, I think it's important that we think about the people around us, and maybe not even the people around us, the people that might be affected by the choices that we make. You know, so let's be considerate of others when we're making choices, and just make sure that in our pursuit of freedom and exciting experiences, that we're not negatively impacting anyone else.
Yeah, I think a great way to kind of look at it is that one of the things, you don't dislike a lot of things, but one of the things that you do dislike is smoking. And part of that is due to, you can't be smoking around other people and at the same time being considerate.
I completely agree with that. I think smoking around others, unless they're smokers and they like breathing in secondhand smoke, is a rather inconsiderate thing to do. And so on a more positive note, I like to look at the devices that we make as being a great alternative for people that want to have that kind of experience, and just be a little bit more respectful of the people around them, and also at the same time being a little bit more respectful to yourself. There's, with the technology that we have available today, whether it's our product or some other company's good quality product, why inhale all these incomplete combustion byproducts? It's just really not necessary.
Well, and because you can heat with so many different things, you never have to sacrifice taste or your own body for the convenience of consumption.
Not at all. And you have that freedom of choice in terms of what you put in your device, and you have that freedom and independence to heat your device with just about any available heat source. just kind of a nice thing.
I agree wholeheartedly. And Pranav, what does independence mean to you?
Good question. Independence to me is the freedom to live your life the way you see fit, of course, without making others uncomfortable, like George said, being considerate to others.
But you're all alone up in space, aren't you, Pranav? And so I think that is a great way. And speaking of community, once again, if you haven't purchased our products or if you want to pick up one locally, check out the Where to Buy section on the website. I think it's such a great tool. It allows you to put in your address and you can find the local retailer nearest you so you can pick one up. Or you can check out an online retailer and have it shipped to you. You won't have to pay as high shipping costs. Are there any other benefits, George, that you like when a person purchases from a local retailer?
Oh, I think one of the biggest benefits is just simply supporting the local businesses. Not to mention, if they're nearby, you can go get it right now, and they'll be happy to see you. But even better than that, if your local businesses don't have our product, we would really appreciate you going in and asking them for it. It has a much, much stronger impact when a customer says, hey, why don't you carry this? Versus when we reach out. For us to reach out, it's a solicitation. For you to reach out, it's a request. And businesses love requests from customers.
Well, usually if they get enough requests, it means that product's going to sell once they start stocking it. There's less risk involved. They're going to see a good return of investment.
And it's just more comfortable. And, you know, hopefully we can help educate more people in the Dynaverse and more businesses in the Dynaverse, bring them in and help them see that, yeah, our product is a good quality product and it lasts a long time and it causes very few issues with the customers that purchase it.
Agreed. Now I think is a great time to start talking about the details with the Battery Independence Day sale. We are offering 20% off, excluding precious metals, off the entire DynaShop. The sale will end Sunday on July 5th at 11:59 p.m. Central Time, so check that out. We also have some really cool bundles, don't we, George?
Oh, man. Yeah, we got some really cool bundles.
And so let's take it the first one here, the mini bundle, which is going to be a nice entry-level bundle where you get a Slim Stash as well as a Freedom Phantom and the 2020M. And so really good deal there. And then next step up, you have the Midway bundle. For those of you who have been looking to get an Omni XL, this is a great way to do it, as you'll get the Omni XL, you'll get the Z Plus Torch, an XL ER Stash, a Dynacoil for the concentrate users out there, as well as a black turtle case to, you know, take your device wherever you go.
Yeah.
And now the big boy.
The Mega Bundle.
This one is impressive. It is such a good deal. You get 2 CVAPs, 2 2020Ms, Dynastash, you'll get some replacement O-rings, some Dynawax, a torch, an induction heater, an Omni XL, as well as a 2019 tip and a Dynacoil, all for $419.
This is like the underwater party kit, right? You take this anywhere you want to go, and you've got just about everything you need to share with several of your best friends.
Yeah, I love this bundle, and I think the advantage, like, you love $419, and it just happened to be that it made it a really good price point for this product.
Yeah, it's too cheap, but $419 is a great number, and we wanted to really put something out there that when people got this in their hands, they're like, wow, just wow. How cool is that?
Well, and it also, I think, gives people a way to experience different ways to customize their device. They can put on the 2019 tip. They can try the Omni. They can try the M. They can see what works best for them.
Stainless steel, titanium, induction, torch, all these things. But I think the single best attribute of this whole package is the sharing aspect of it. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever that you don't have at least one extra device that you can share with someone, give it away, make their day, and have a great experience because of it.
Yep, that's the side effect of VAS, is you tend to be a little bit more generous at some point because you just have enough for yourself.
Well, and it's such a positive side effect that, and trust me, if you haven't tried it yet, even if you just loan one of these devices to someone, you know, it feels really good.
And Pranav, do we see any really good questions out there yet?
We have a lot of good questions, but before we get into those questions, let's answer all the questions that keep getting repeated. One of them is, when will we see more induction heaters? Will we see portable induction heaters? George, what's the best answer right now?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, very soon. So we are in the process of assembling our next batch of induction heaters, which is why we have them in our bundles right now. And we're putting them together as fast as we can. But unfortunately, we don't have a large number available yet, which is why they're only available in the bundles right now. However, it's looking good, like we should have individual induction heaters available on our website in the near future. Probably not during the sale, but hopefully within about the next week to 10 days. As far as some of the other induction heater questions, if you think that this is all we're going to ever do when it comes to induction heating, you have no clue who we are and what we do.
Yeah, there's been some stuff that's been in the works for some time. I'm excited to see the feedback.
Well, you know, for what it's worth, we started down the induction heater road in May of 2017. Okay, so we've been doing research, doing development, doing testing, been iterating, been learning, been crashing, been burning for quite a while, and it seems like things are about to get really interesting.
And what else do we have, Pranav? I see some good ones
I
there.
hope that answers all induction heater questions because we keep getting them, and the answer is they're coming pretty soon.
The answer is yes.
The answer is
The
yes.
answer is yes.
Okay, let's take some other questions. I really love this one. So your boy Drew asks, do you notice any inconsistencies in the VAP cap clicking after a year or so of use? Is there any type of maintenance to keep it working like brand new?
I'll let you take this one, George.
Well, from my experience, back from the days when I used to do Josh's job in the customer service end of things, it seemed like the caps were very consistent. After maybe the first week or two, when people kind of got into the routine. So the likelihood of overheating it was kind of behind them, and everything kind of just fell into its own. And I know that there's some people out there that have been heating their caps and clicking them multiple times a day for years, and they just keep right on clicking. So for the most part, they're going to stay pretty consistent as long as you don't overheat them or you don't contaminate them. And when I say contaminate them, like getting liquids down inside the cap that make things sticky or plug things up. If you take your cap when it's brand new and you hold it up to your ear and you kind of tap on it, you should hear a real slight rattle. And that's actually important. It's engineered in there on purpose so that our temperature indicators can maintain their calibration.
Gives them a little room.
Gives them a little bit of room so they can move, so they don't have any outside forces impacting the calibration in terms of the temperature that they click.
Yeah, and I think that's you brought up a good point, like with the liquids. I think that's a underrated tip when it comes to using the DynaCoil is less is more.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of people out there who just put way too much on thinking they'll get a bigger cloud when in fact it's just...
It actually gives you a smaller one.
Yeah, because
it wastes your expensive material because then it just runs all over the place. You know, the whole point of the DynaCoil is to, completely extract and vaporize a small amount at a time and then finish it up.
Yeah, it's not like a banger where you have to, you're going to end up having to take a Q-tip and wipe it away each time. Like my coil, if I use a small amount, everything is gone by the time I'm done.
Yeah.
And
then you can put a little bit more on.
And who are you calling a moron? What else do we have for
And then you put a little more on.
I have another question. The answer is probably yes, but George, I'll let you elaborate. Will we see new color variants on the 2020M lineup?
Yes.
There you go.
Absolutely. We are getting close to making final determination on what those colors are going to be. And something I can tell you is that the first people that are going to know what the colors are going to be on the Dynaverse Discord. And if you haven't joined the Dynaverse Discord yet, why not?
Sweet. Speaking of the Dynaverse Discord, I'm just posting the invite link in the chat. So if you want to join, you should join if you're watching. It's a pretty cool place. The invite is in the chat, and we'll see you there.
And we do a whole lot in the Dynaverse Discord, Pranav. A lot more than just talk about sales. In fact, that's probably one of the least things we do there, The Dynaverse Discord is, I think, one of the best places to directly engage with the DynaVap community and talk about things that may not be DynaVap related at all with other like-minded, like-motivated people. And it's just a really fun and friendly place.
Yeah, I barely talk about any sort of DynaVap related products in there at all. I talk about movies, music, books, like it's a whole community in there, and you kind of get to know us a little bit more on a personal level.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we have the technology available today to create a community like this. I just really hope that we can get more like-minded and like-motivated people to join in and participate. And in the end, it should hopefully allow us to better coordinate and to better serve you as the community with the things that you're looking for from us, but not just from us. I think it's also a great place to connect with other people that are doing things that are interesting and engaging for you. It's a whole community inside the Dynaverse.
And now, Pranav, you're on the Discord quite a bit. What's your favorite thread under there, if you had to pick one?
Oh man, this is so
Put
hard
you on
to
the
pick.
spot.
Yeah, I like all of them, but I do love the collaborative art project, and it's nice we're seeing some new art, but I'd like to see more because there's so many creative people out there.
Man, what I like to see more in the art, and we've got this really exciting thing we're doing with another maker here locally that you want to be in on this. I guarantee you, you want to be in on the collaborative art project right now, because there's going to be some really cool things that are going to be going out to the people that are participating, and they don't even know how awesome they are yet. And if you haven't even looked in, well, get in there, check it out. There's going to be some really cool stuff coming. I can't wait to share it with you.
Yeah, the FOMO is real with that one.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
And now, George, do you have any plans for the weekend? Are you going to be doing any traveling or anything like that?
It's not likely I'm going to be doing any traveling, and I'm a little sad to say that although I was hoping to be doing some traveling in a couple weeks, it looks like my plans have likely been canceled. So I'm probably going to stick around home and spend some time with the family and work on a few projects that need a little bit of attention. One of them might happen to be the collaborative art project.
Always look at the silver lining.
Right, and also going to make sure I'm home for Sunday evening.
And what's Sunday evening, George?
Sunday evening is a really nice time to sit down and have a cup of tea. Right, Pranav?
Yeah, so that's a great segue. So, George, you've been having the live stream tea time every Sunday at 8 or 8:30?
At 8:30.
8:30
Central
p.m.
Time.
Central on Instagram. So we've just started this. It's been nice. It's been interesting. And this Sunday we'll have a special guest.
Yes, we will.
So please tune in, and we will also be giving away some cool things on the stream.
So yeah, check it out. Just another reason to follow that Instagram page.
Yep, that's the DynaVap Instagram channel. We'll have a live stream, 8:30 Central Time. Get your tea ready. Have a cup of tea with us, and let's talk about how we can make the world the place we want it to be.
Definitely. And for those of you who are going to be traveling this weekend, do so safely. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this week's episode of The Snap. Welcome to The Snap. This is the segment where we answer frequently asked questions in a very rapid-fire format. So let's get right into it. In this week's episode of The Snap, we're going to be showing you how to travel discreetly with your Vap Cap. There are many different ways to travel with a vaporizer. However, the Vap Cap makes it particularly easy due to the ease of disassembly and reassembly, as well as the portability of the device. Today, I'm going to share with you some of my personal suggestions on how to travel with your Vap Cap. But regardless of the method, the most important thing is to ensure that your Vap Cap is properly cleaned before you travel. If you've never cleaned your Vap Cap and you need to learn how to do so, be sure to check out the videos here, and we'll wait for you to get back. Now that you've deep cleaned your device, it's time to see if it passes the smell test. Pick it up and put it up to your nose and take a deep whiff. If you don't smell any odor from your previous sessions, you're good to go. Just give it a quick glance to make sure that you didn't miss any leftover material, and you can pack up. For those of you that want to take a few extra steps, you can fully disassemble your device and store each part separately to make the device more inconspicuous. You can take your Vap Cap and pop it in your stash, and away you go. Now that you've arrived at your destination, you can reassemble your VAP cap and start using it. And if you're unable to purchase a torch lighter locally, or if you can't travel with one, a Bic lighter is a perfectly suitable replacement in a pinch. Last but not least, do not forget to clean your VAP cap before you head home. Share your experiences with traveling with a VAP cap, and what topics would you like to see discussed on future episodes of The Snap in the comments below.
No, it's not.
And as we stated at the top of the show, we're going to be showing you how to best use a double torch with your device. I have a 2020M and a Z Plus 2. And the nice thing about a double torch is you have many different ways that you can orient the jets to get the best performance. You can have really even heating by having it parallel to the cap at a slight angle, so not quite parallel, but you'll get the point. And this will heat the whole length of the cap, give you really even heating. It's great if you want to really kind of get a nice consistent experience whenever you're using it. Otherwise, if you want something a little bit more pinpoint precise, such as a single torch, just rotate it 90 degrees and go. And then you're able to focus out at the base or towards the top. So that way you can get a nice flavorful draw if you want it, if you're heating the tip, or you can heat the base if you want to get that really dense vapor cloud that you're searching after. Just another benefit with a double torch, and let us know what type of heating tips you would like to see featured on the next episode of DynaVap Live, and we're more than happy to do so. And if you want to see more heating tips, check out the Dyna blog on the website. There you can see the one with the travel tips, but right there you see the 2020M heating tips. You go on that Dyna blog, you'll see heating tips with the triple torch and induction heater and links for more advanced heating tips as well, so check it out. And I think now is a good time to go with some more questions. Don't you, Pranav?
Yes, so speaking of the torch demonstration, William asked, any ideas for when you're outdoors in the sun and you cannot see the flame of your lighter?
Oh man, do I like that question.
That's a great question.
So, if I could ask for some assistance here on the close-up camera, I'll show you exactly how to contend with that.
Okay, so let's see what we got going here.
So, I'm going to grab this Phantom M here, the Freedom Phantom, and I'm going to show you a technique that I find to be rather useful when it comes to heating your device. And this is something that, whether it's bright and sunny outside or not, I find it to be rather useful because it helps with alignment and also helps with consistency. And I refer to this as the anchor method, right? Where I can put my hands together like this, and I recognize where my hands are coming together by feel. So I can put my thumb on my finger like this, if you can see closely, right? And I can apply heat, and I can look this way, I can look that way, or I can look down, or not look down while I'm heating my device, and I can be extremely discreet because I've anchored my hands together, maintaining precise alignment, distance, and spacing of my device to my heat source. And all I have to do then is feel and or listen for the click.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too. It's just like getting to know your cap. Practice before you try for real. Like, give it a couple dry runs, just practice, and you'll get it.
But I think I'd like to expand even a little bit more beyond that, Josh, in the regard that practice makes perfect. We've all heard that. Well, practicing with your VAP cap empty is, I think, one of the best things a person can do, especially as you're just getting familiar with your tool, with your equipment, right? Practice with it, practice with it. It's such a useful thing to do. You don't have to have anything in it. Yes, it's great when you first get it to practice 3, 4, 5, 6 times with it empty. Heat it up till it clicks, let it cool off until it clicks. Heat it up until it clicks, let it cool off until it clicks. But even after you've used it for a few days, a few weeks, it gives you something to do with your hands. And as you get a little bit more familiar with it, just like when you first learned how to ride a bike, it was a big deal just to stay on the bike. After a while, you felt a lot more comfortable going down the steep hills and over the speed bumps, and everything was okay, mainly because you just had more familiarity with the process. And so this is a way that you can get a lot more familiar with the process of heating. You can feel those anchor points as you're putting your hands together in the same way multiple times, so that you just get that familiar feeling. Not a lot different than playing a musical instrument either. You develop the feel for it so that it becomes almost second nature to it. And if you do these things, even put a pair of headphones on when it's empty, so you don't have to worry about burning anything, you can train your fingers to feel that click. It's there. It's noticeable. It's not noticeable if you don't know what you're feeling for, But when you train your fingers and you train your mind on what to pay attention to, it's nuance. It's there.
Yeah, I like the music analogy. Like, Pranav, you as a guitar player, I'm sure relates to that, don't you?
Yes.
And then what other questions do you see there?
I really like this one. So Tess asked, I live nearly 3,000 meters high, so things heat pretty slow and differently. Wondering if that would change anything using those vapes.
I think that's a good question. And will it change things? Yes, it will. But the majority of what it's going to change is it's going to change the adjustment of your heat source if your heat source is a torch. If it's an induction heater, it's not going to change anything. Anything very specific. It will slightly change how quickly some of the active compounds in your materials are extracted. And if anything, it's going to accelerate them because as the altitude goes up, the pressure drops, which means your volatile compounds will tend to evaporate at a slightly lower temperature because the pressure is lower. So if anything, it's going to be the inverse. The reason why things heat slower or seem to cook slower at altitude is because water boils at a lower temperature, so you're actually inputting less thermal energy into the things that you're cooking. In this situation, we're not trying to necessarily cook so much as we are trying to selectively extract. And so you're going to be able to selectively extract your active compounds at a slightly lower temperature. So as long as you have your energy source adjusted so that it functions correctly, I think you're going to find that things are going to work pretty similar regardless of your altitude. How's that?
Great answer. I like, the compare, like with the flavor. I wonder if that's like when we had our champ show in Denver, if why everything tasted better, if there were other extenuating circumstances as well.
It could have certainly played a role. There's no question. And to me, this is just one of those fun things that we get to play with in the Dynaverse is as operators of these somewhat manual devices, we have, I think, a much higher level of control over our experience, which brings us back to that earlier discussion in terms of get familiar with your device. Use your device empty. Learn the nuance with this device, and it will allow you to really take control of your experience and extract the most satisfaction you can possibly get out of the whole situation.
Greatly put, George. And then, Pranav, do we see any first click questions in the chat?
I do not, so we should recap. So what's the first click, Josh?
The first click, so if you are a new customer or you have any beginner questions, use the hashtag first click and we would love to answer those in the chat. That way we can make sure that you are getting the information that you need to best enjoy the device. So let's see those questions. Just use the hashtag first click and we'll be sure to answer them.
Any reason why the stainless steel tip has one less O-ring than the titanium tip?
That's a fun one. There's actually a couple of reasons. So back in the day when we were trying to figure out what our next move was, when we were still selling a lot of the original glass VAP caps, and we had the Thai Woodies and the Omnis. So we had the glass and we had the titanium, and there was nothing in between. We're trying to decide how do we fill that gap, come up with a model that's a little bit nicer than the glass ones, a lot more durable, but at a substantially lower price point than the Thai Woodies that were available at the time. And so we're looking for ways that we could cut some of the cost and also other ways to make the parts very noticeably different from one another. So it's like, okay, do we really need 4 O-rings on a tip? And the answer is no. For the most part, the extra O-ring on the titanium tips, it's really just there as a conveniently located spare. So if you ever break an O-ring on your titanium tip or on any of your other devices, you can certainly take that middle O-ring off, put it where you need it, and the device is going to function pretty much identically without it there. It's just kind of a nice spare.
Learn something new every day.
Because why not, right?
And then what else do we have, Pranav?
Someone really loved the coffee mug. Actually, there were a few of them, and they aren't available on the site. But George, didn't you give away some of them on the last Tea Time stream?
I might have done that.
So, wink wink, if you want one, I think you have to join the Tea Time live stream on
Tea Time
Instagram.
live stream.
And then I see one that I really want to answer here. When creating a bundle, what thought gets put into it? I think that I would love to hear your answer to that one, George.
Oh, I thought you were going to answer that.
No, that one, I'm not the one who makes the kits.
Okay. Well, when it came down to like the mega bundle, it was really, okay, what can we do? How much stuff can we throw into this to make it just irresistible? And at the same time, such an empowering product that when people get it, all they really want to do is share this with some other people. Because I think it just gets overlooked far too often, especially in our current society with people distancing themselves from others. And I'm not talking about just physical distancing, I mean just not staying in contact with other people. Sharing is probably one of the single most important things we can do as a society. So here, you have this thing. How could you not possibly just be overwhelmed with the urge to share? And that's a big part of the what was the determining factor in terms of why we put this bundle together the way we did. There's a whole lot of sharing in this bundle. Hopefully
Nicely
that
put.
kind of answers this question.
George, there's a question for you. What's your favorite metal and why?
I like a lot of metals because they have so many different properties and so many of them so useful. But I generally like the precious metals. One of my favorites is iridium because extremely high melting temperature, almost corrosion proof. I mean, the only way you can corrode this material is with some unbelievably nasty things at elevated temperatures. Okay, so you make something out of this metal, it's going to last a long time. But it's also kind of expensive. So I haven't been able to really work with that material much yet. Hopefully someday. But I also like niobium, which is kind of like titanium's, I think I'd have to refer to it as titanium's older, more mature sister. Named after the Greek god Niobe. Has a lot of the similar properties to titanium, and if you're familiar with the color anodizing that people do with titanium, well, you can do that with niobium too, except the colors are even more fantastic. But it also costs more, and it's heavier. Extremely corrosion resistant, and is also used regularly in the nuclear industry, which is kind of fun.
Well put. And then I think we can take a few more questions before we start to wrap it up here. Pranav, what are some of your favorite ones that you're seeing in there right now?
I think, Josh, this one's for you. Why doesn't our website accept PayPal?
Oh, I'd love to answer that one. So this is more of an issue with PayPal and what they like their service to be used for. They don't like their service being used for anything Vaporizer related.
Well, yeah, I'd have to say it's even a little bit worse than that. They tend to be a little bit arbitrary in terms of determining whether or not they want their services used for a particular product or not. Because there is quite a few other people out there that are using PayPal for things that are a lot different than what we have, as well as very similar to what we have. It just, PayPal doesn't want to work with us is probably the best answer I can come up with.
Yeah, it's kind of like when the company first started with Indiegogo, where like it's their service, it's their platform, and it's their choice.
It's their choice.
And we have to respect that. And then what else do we have, Pranav?
We see this question quite often. George, do you want to answer it again? Any
Sure.
plans on making a larger bowl?
At this point, generally not. The dynamics in increasing the size for appropriate heat transfer, conduction, convection, radiant transfer, air vapor flow rate, things are challenging. Even though these devices look like they're really simple little things, increasing the diameter or increasing the length can have a significant effect in terms of the temperature gradient across the material that is in your extraction chamber. Not to mention then we have to re-engineer a whole lot of the other parts of the system. So if we make the chamber longer, it means we need to make the heat dissipation section of the tip shorter, or we have to make the overall device length longer, which means it doesn't fit in the stashes. one small change like that can have a pretty significant cascading effect across the whole product lineup. And the other thing I would really urge people to try, if you're looking for more, believe it or not, the key to more is more airflow. You would be surprised if you haven't tried this yet. If you think you need a bigger chamber, I challenge you. Heat this thing up once, take a little puff, and set it down on the magnet. As soon as you hear that cool down click, heat it up again, low on the cap, until that click. Put it in your mouth and let go. Wide open, don't obstruct the air ports at all, not one little bit, and draw on that thing as hard as you can. And if you're not satisfied, get in touch with me.
I like that answer. It's short, sweet, and direct.
I don't normally like to come across this way, but I'm pretty darn confident that if you haven't tried it yet, you might just be shocked at what happens. There's a little bit more going on in this device than what most people think, and believe it or not, this airport, although it might seem like a carb, its function can be much, much different than that. Try it. You'd be surprised what might happen.
Yeah, and that, getting back to the bigger chamber, it's, as you said, it's just not as simple as taking a larger chamber, putting it on. It's starting square one from an engineering standpoint.
But it's that, and I think there's even more to it in the regards that, what are you really looking for? Are you looking for more big extraction cycles, or are you looking for one big extraction cycle? Because the fact is, you can extract nearly everything that's in here in 1 to 2 heat cycles pretty effectively and pretty consistently. Do you really want to do a third one where the flavor components are mostly all gone and it just generally doesn't taste good? Or would you rather empty it out, having extracted the majority of all the active compounds, refill it, and have another nice, flavorful experience? Because how long does it take to go like this?
Let's
And
take one more
load
question.
right back up, right?
Can pressing the DynaVap into an induction heater damage the discs inside the cap over time?
That's a great question.
It depends on how you press, but in general, probably not. Unless you're denting the cap severely. Also, it gets us back to one of the other comments we had earlier in terms of, is the cap going to lose calibration? If you can hear the temperature indicator rattle inside of your cap, it should be good to go unless you've severely overheated it.
Nicely put. And so I think that about wraps it up for today. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate that. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. And ring the bell so that way you're notified so you never miss any of our content. We have Exploring the Dynaverse. We have a new episode coming up soon, don't we, George?
Yes, we do. This is going to be a fun one.
And then we also want to announce the Instagram winner, and that was Hot Wasabi 1. And then, Pranav, who is the winner of the Freedom Phantom?
The winner for the Freedom Phantom is Tess Myself. So Tess Myself, if you're still in the chat, please reach out to, who are we reaching out to? jc@dynavap.com, and we will hook you up with the Freedom Phantom.
Yeah, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to be doing another Dynaverse featured segment. And so get your Dynaverse segment, or DynaVap photos ready. Use the Dynaverse form on the website. That's how we're going to be able to sort through all those. We really look forward to seeing it, don't we, Pranav?
Yes, and please join the Dynaverse Discord. We have some amazing stuff going on there, and tune in to Tea Time live stream.
Yeah, throw that link up there one more time, Pranav. Just make sure
The
people
invite?
have it.
Yes.
Yeah, and while Pranav is doing that in the chat, I think it's important too to just reiterate some details with the sale. It's 20% off all items on the site, excluding the precious metals and the bundles. And that will be running until the end of Sunday, July 5th at 11:59 p.m. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, George?
Enjoy the weekend. This is pretty awesome. It's, for us in this part of the world, it's one of our favorite times of year. Go outside and doggone it, share something with someone, please.
Yep, and so we'll see you then. We look forward to seeing all the submissions. Once again, it's on the Dynaverse submission form on the website, and we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching. For more videos, click here or here, and don't forget to subscribe.